Good afternoon and welcome to the Rundown. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 28th of October. Trump questions counting late ballots as Biden preaches unity in Georgia. This scary statistic predicts growing U.S. political violence, whatever happens on Election Day. Two researchers claim that a single number they call the political stress indicator can warn when societies are at risk of erupting into violence. It's sparking in the U.S., just like it did before the Civil War. Philadelphia police shooting of a black man sparked unrest. Hundreds of people took to the streets to protest against the police shooting of Walter Wallace, a 27-year-old black man. A white NYPD police who broke into a black woman's home hurling racial slurs is ordered to pay $1 million. Trader Joe's has recently recalled over 4,400 pounds of frozen fish. If you recently bought a TJ's frozen gluten-free battered halibut, take a look at the product SKU number. And self-proclaimed racist gets himself fired and arrested after harassing a black man. Let's get to the news. Republican President Donald Trump questioned the integrity of the U.S. elections yet again on Tuesday, saying that it would be inappropriate to take the extra time to count the tens of millions of ballots cast by mail in his race against former Vice President Democrat Joe Biden. While Trump, who trails in the national opinion polls, cast doubt on the mail-in vote, Biden offered a different message of unity in two rallies in the state of Georgia as part of a foreseeing into a traditional Republican territory with a week left to go before Election Day on November 3rd. Early voting, both by mail and in person, have topped more than 70 million on Tuesday, more than half of the total turnout in 2016 election, according to U.S. election projects at the University of Florida. Americans are rushing to cast their ballot in record numbers as they look to avoid exposure to coronavirus. A huge volume of mail-in ballots, more than 46 million, have already been cast. Could take days or weeks to tally, experts say, meaning that a winner might not be declared the night of November 3rd, when polls close. Welcome. So, welcome to the Rundown. I am once again your host, Captivating Christian, and this is a segment where I like to just basically give my personal commentary on the stories for this afternoon. And first, let's get rid of some house business. Let's sweep that out the way and say welcome to all of our new subscribers and watchers of the channel. Hopefully you like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss another update or anything that's going on here at Cap Hill. And to my state reps that are you in the chat, welcome. Always a pleasure to see you all. And so let's get into some things and really have some fun. Alright, so let's get started. So our first story, of course, deals with... You guys already know where this is going, and before I press this button, I have to just give the disclaimer so you know.
Retard alert! Retard alert!
Alright, so this current president and his administration, of course, is always up to something. But days away from the election of 2020, the presidential election of 2020, Of course, you have the Republicans on one side kind of doing their own thing, and Democrats on the other doing their own thing for the final dash to the White House, right? So this President Donald Trump, of course, spewing fear into voters, basically already discounting the mail-in ballots that have been coming in record numbers, about 2 times the amount since 2016, which let us know even more clearer that a lot of people just did not vote in 2016. They didn't even participate in voting at all. Not for Hillary Clinton or not even for Donald Trump. Realistically, they didn't like either candidate, so they decided to sit it out. I don't know what made Donald Trump think that possibly this was not it. I think he has been blinded by the help he received from Vladimir. And he was totally not expecting, nobody to vote against him because he's such a great guy.
You stupid.
But yeah, let's just go over the facts. We've got coronavirus,
bruh,
unemployment,
bruh,
civil unrest due to police brutality,
bruh,
and just him basically not even caring about anything. Kids in cages. Or just being a jerk. Which is something that, granted, we've had plenty presidential jerks over the years.
Heinous.
So he wouldn't be the first. However, he is the first in modern history to actually still have this kind of chauvinistic attitude.
Oh, hell no.
And yeah, I think the people have had enough. Like, he's had his 15 minutes and it's time to kind of pack it up. At this point, if he didn't, I think he needs to start thinking about an exit strategy, although this particular article thinks that he will not go so easily, that literally it would be something like, but we shall see how this goes. We don't have to go and call Many Americans are clinging to the idea that if Joe Biden wins the presidential election, calm can once again return to a nation thrived in protests and riddled by President Donald Trump's authoritarian rhetoric. But not so fast, caution two academics who claim that they have derived a measure of political instability that shows that the nation will be a powder keg that is waiting to blow. If Biden wins by a landslide, which means that Trump has little or no choice but to step aside. They believe the model explains how inequality escalates and leads to political instability, worsened by elites who monopolize economic gains, narrowing the path to social mobility, and resist taxation. Inequality ends up undermining state institutions while fomenting distrust and resentment. The statistics called the Political Stress Indicator, or PSI. It incorporates measures of wage stagnation, national debt, competition between elites, distrust in government, urbanization, and the age structure of the population. Today, with the nation in turmoil, they predict that we live in a pandemic hellscape that has disproportionately harmed Black and brown Americans and those living in poverty. We have widespread civil unrest over racial injustice, and we are hurling towards an election in which Trump is stroking unfounded fears of voter fraud and refusing to commit to a peaceful transition of power. Right, in this next article, which basically tied into the first one, basically talking about these two political scholars Statistic scholars, who have basically mapped out that due to the rhetoric that the president spews, fears of voter fraud, inequality, economic inequality, and all of this is basically what led up to civil unrest, the Civil War. And that right now, at this day and age, in this modern America, we are the numbers are twice as high for an actual explosion of some sort of civil war or civil unrest between the citizens, regardless if Joe Biden wins the presidency, right? Okay, so statistically, numbers, it was about at 60% in buildup, right? In 1860, it was about 60% in buildup. So here we are in modern America, Civil War buildup starting in 1820. So keep that in mind. So from 1820 to 1860, it built up to about 60%, which basically began the Civil War. Now, in modern America, starting at 1980, all right, it has been a slow climb to civil unrest, peaking at about somewhere around maybe 2005. So about 2005 and up is really when it started to really escalate. 2005 at about 20%, so somewhere around there, but escalating from there at 2005 to now 2020, peaking at about 80%. So, meaning, basically in a nutshell, that due to all of the modern technologies, you can video, you have social media outlets where people can write posts. There's nothing to, you can hide behind so many different things and spew different kinds of misinformation that we are at an all-time high of civil unrest and a civil war kind of buildup. Now, we shall see if this will actually come true to be evident. However, it does scare some people. Just because we haven't lived in that age. This would be a modern civil war, not about freeing human beings from slavery, but then what will this civil war be about? Will it still be based on race, or will it be based on inequality and racial inequality and economic inequality? Who's to say? I don't know, but it is quite interesting to watch and see how the numbers have grown. So between the Civil War buildup from 1820 to 1860 and the modern America buildup between 1980 and 2020. Police shot and killed a 27-year-old black man on a Philadelphia street after yelling at him to drop his knife, sparking a violent protest that police say injured 30 officers and led to dozens of arrests. The shooting occurred before 4 p.m. on Monday as officers responded to a report of a person with a weapon, a police spokesperson said. Officers were called to the Cobb Creek neighborhood and encountered a man identified as Walter Wallace, who was holding a knife. Officers ordered Wallace to drop the knife, but instead he advanced towards them. Both officers then fired several times. Wallace was hit in the shoulder and chest. One of the officers then put him in the vehicle and drove him to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead a short time later. Hundreds of people took to the streets to protest against the shooting late Monday into early Tuesday, with interactions between the protesters and police turning violent at times, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported. Police cars and dumpsters were set on fire as police struggled to contain the crowd. More than a dozen officers, many with batons in hand, formed a line as they ran down 52nd Street, chasing protesters away. 30 officers were injured. Most of them were being struck by projectiles such as bricks and rocks, according to preliminary information from the police. One officer was hospitalized in stable condition with a broken leg and other injuries after she was struck by a pickup truck, police say, while others were injured and treated and released. So this next story is about the police officers in Philadelphia. The police shot and killed a 27-year-old black man in the Philadelphia street after yelling at him to drop his knife, which sparked, of course, a violent protest where 30 officers were injured and which led to dozens of arrests. The shooting occurred at 4 p.m. on Monday as officers responded to a report of a person with a weapon. The person that was said to have the weapon in the report was identified as Walter Wallace. This was on the Cobb Creek neighborhood in Philadelphia. The report goes on to say that the officers asked Wallace to drop the knife, and he otherwise advanced towards the officers, both officers firing several times, shooting Wallace in the shoulder and in the chest. One of the police officers placed him in a vehicle, drove off to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. Hundreds of people, however, took to the streets to protest against the shooting late Monday into early Tuesday. And that's where the violence kind of erupted. Now, once again, here we are in a situation that, one, is highly unfortunate. Two, is another reason why defunding the police, not getting rid of the police, but defunding them as far as putting money that is allocated to police departments into other programs to help them better assist the community, like a person who is trained in psychology, who can deal with people who are in manic situations, teaching other styles of takedowns instead of just shooting to kill. Because again, it is funny, I say this all the time, they do not shoot and kill people that look like them, they shoot and kill the opposite of them, regardless of what weapon they may have towards them. Again, we've seen it tons of times on many platforms of white people being stopped by officers having some sort of mental distress, and the officer never fires. He even runs from the assailant, but he never fires his gun. So the fact that these officers and others like them always feel the need to shoot first on officers that look different from them says a lot. But anyway, this has again brought unrest to the city of Philadelphia, along with many of the other protesters from many of the other killings or mishaps by police nationwide. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, so on and so forth. So this is no different. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Mental illness is a very big thing in our community, and it definitely goes unchecked and unnoticed. And my prayer is that we really start to pay attention to it in our neighborhoods, and we start to see the signs and really get help for those signs. It does not mean you're weak. It does not mean that there is something wrong with you, that you are particularly crazy, but there is an issue there that needs to be handled and dealt with head on. We need not to sweep it under the rug and think that, we're just supposed to be macho or take it and move on, but really deal with it so we can grow and be better. A white former NYPD cop must pay $1 million to a black woman after he broke into her Nashville home and drunkenly berated her with racial slurs in front of her two children. Federal judge ordered Michael Rollins to pay Kenice Halliburton the sum on Monday in response to a civil lawsuit filed by the woman, the Tennessean reported. Rollins resigned from the police force in January after calls for his termination. Rollins was attending a bachelor party in Nashville back in July of 2018 when he burst into Halliburton's home, believing it was his Airbnb, and threatened the woman with racial slurs and told her he'd break every bone in her neck. Her 4 sons were home during the incident. The former cop pleaded no contest to multiple counts of assault with fear of bodily injury and aggressive criminal trespassing and was sentenced to 15 days in jail. Halliburton's attorney said that he didn't expect his client to collect the $1 million since the former officer had declared bankruptcy. Okay, in this particular article right here, a former New York City police officer is ordered to pay a Nashville black woman $1 million. That's right, I said it. A former New York City police officer is ordered to pay a black woman $1 million. So you say, well, how? What happened here? So long story short of what happened in this particular incident, the officer was apparently hanging out at a bar, probably on vacation in Nashville, and was staying at an Airbnb, right? And so he was so belligerently drunk that he actually went into the wrong residence.
Heinous.
And began to, hew racial slurs at this particular woman while her children were also in her presence. So much so that I'm gathering pretty sure she felt threatened because he claimed that he was going to break her fucking neck and, called her all types of N-words and so on and so forth. And then I'm sure he let it be known that he was a New York City police officer. So that probably even made the situation even more problematic for her, or even made it more scary for her. But however, yes, he did all that, and come to find out that he was in the wrong he was in the wrong place. He was in actually her residence, but not in the Airbnb in which he was paying for. Now, how did he end up there in some other place and not in the Airbnb which he paid for? Is like, I'm kind of side-eyeing all that. I'm also side-eyeing the fact that if he was actually on vacation, then he possibly couldn't have been by himself. So then, therefore, if he went into the wrong place, that means they, as far as his party that was with him, went into the wrong residence as well. Now, did the other people apologize and leave? And he just felt like, no, this is my place. She's lying. I'm going to stay. I don't know. However, it must have been something along those lines, because the judge a federal judge at that, has ordered him to pay the $1 million. However, his old trying to get out of Dodge quick behind tried to call himself filing for bankruptcy, so she could not she could not sue. So he hurried up and tried to file bankruptcy, and that quite didn't work. So the judge said, oh no, you won't.
Bitch, I hope the fuck you do. You'll be a dead son of a bitch, I tell you that.
So there was no way he could get past that, because the judge said, oh, no. So there must be something, either some video or something that basically, and it could be people in his party was saying, hey, no, we're in the wrong place, and he was just so insistent, and his racial, spewing was just so vile that, the judge saw fit that, he deserved to pay that money. So I guess somewhere in that time in court, he realized that...
It was at this moment Jackson knew he fucked up.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. And no bankruptcy could save you from that. Because even with your bankruptcy, the judge said, no, you're still going to pay that. So that must mean that they've seen that pension, and that pension looks like it's going to be getting pinched for quite some time. So I hope he wasn't, banking on it, because he's not going to get that. Well, all right, on to the next. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Son, The Official Kingpin, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel, where we are not afraid to go there and discuss an array of topics. See you there. Trader Joe's is pulling its gluten-free battered halibut off the shelves after discovering an undeclared meat and milk in the product. The popular grocery store issued a recall notice on its website for 10-ounce boxes of halibut that were packaged with the SKU number 50382 and the product code 537-312-620. The affected product from supplier Orchard Bay Foods, LLC, had a best if used by date of November 5th, 2021, and was sold in 19 states. For a full list of the states, go to the website. The states in the article, however, are including New Hampshire, Kansas, Kentucky, New York, Massachusetts, and Maine. No illnesses or allergic reactions have been reported thus far, but Trader Joe's encouraged shoppers who recently purchased the product to proceed with caution if they have a wheat or milk allergy or sensitivity. In this next story, of course, this is one to pay attention on, so I need you guys to listen up. So there has been a recall on some halibut if you bought it from Trader Joe's. All right, Trader Joe's is recalling a halibut, 10-ounce boxes of halibut actually that was packaged with the SKU number 50382, and that's product code 537312620. This is by the Orker Bay Food Company, LLC, and it is best if used by the date of November 5th, 2020. About 19 states sold this particular halibut. For the full list of the states that it was sold to, if you can go to go to Today's Show article under the Today Show article under the Trader Joe's has recalled 4,400 pounds of frozen fish, and you click the link there and it will give you a complete list. The short list of states have been New Hampshire, Kansas, Kentucky, New York, Massachusetts, and Maine. And again, as I reported earlier, no illnesses or allergies have been reported as of yet, but Trader Joe's wants to encourage its shoppers who recently purchased the product to proceed with caution because it contained milk and wheat for those who may be allergic or sensitive to it. Now, do understand that in this time of COVID, of course, a lot of companies have downsized their full-scale employees to combat, getting people infected. So this, of course, affects the processing plants. So a lot of things will kind of have mishaps in them, which would cause, of course, the company largest amount of money, but will also then have recalls due to some things actually going unnoticed or unchecked. So, just wanted people to be aware and to be safe out there, that if you shop at Trader Joe's and you happen to have bought a 10-ounce box of halibut that was packaged with the SKU number 50382 and product code 537312620, that, and it's Orker Bay Foods, you might want to definitely double check that if you happen to have wheat and milk allergies or sensitivity to those things. All right, on to the next. On Tuesday, 12 News reported that the Scottsdale, Arizona man seen proclaiming himself a racist and shouting slurs at two black men in a viral video on Friday has lost his job and been arrested. Records show that Scottsdale police has arrested Paul Nang, who is now facing disorderly conduct charges. The arrest comes after a video of the incident went viral over the weekend. Yang, who until this week was employed at the Russ Loyne Real Estate Agency, expressed regret for his actions to 12 News and told the police that he was worried about riots in the area and hadn't meant to be inflammatory.
Racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist. A Scottsdale man goes off on a racist rant using slurs and calling himself a racist. This while confronting two black men in Old Town Scottsdale. Tonight, we're hearing from everyone involved in this incident.
Team 12's Erica Stapleton is live for us in Scottsdale, where all of this took place. Erica?
Dre Abrams says he was right here on Main Street in Old Town Scottsdale. When a man approached him, he got a bad feeling and started recording.
This is a no.
It's just so hard to kind of go back and replay.
Dre Abrams says he and his roommate were just trying to record a podcast for his YouTube page when Paul Ng approached.
I'm a racist.
Ng telling Dre he's racist, going on to say Dre shouldn't be there.
This is a no.
I think it's one of those numbing feelings. Someone is seriously doing this to me right now. And at that point is be smart. Be smart.
Dre, rattled, took to social media to share what happened, the confrontation going viral. When the video was first posted, Dre thought Ng worked at the River Trading Post.
We have gotten phone calls and death threats.
Owner Kathy Ouellette says the man is not involved in the business, but does live in the condo right above them.
Did not expect this from him.
A police report obtained by 12 News shows Scottsdale police arrested Ng, who's facing disorderly conduct charges for what happened. Records show Ng told Scottsdale police he was worried about riots and his family's safety.
We've had problems here.
But I want him prosecuted to the furthest extent. I feel like this is a huge example.
We talked with Paul Ng off camera, outside his home. He said he shouldn't have said what he did.
This isn't okay. This isn't allowed anymore.
Paul Ng also lost his job as a real estate agent here in Scottsdale. He said he's trying to figure out what to do next now that he's gone viral. He says he plans to plead not guilty to the charges.
Next story. This, I mean, there's nothing I could say, but this
Penis
gets the Jerk Award for the goddamn 2020. Basically, he saw these two black men recording who happen to be YouTubers, and he's questioning them and asking them, you know, what were they doing in the area, and he's like, well, you know, that's really none of your business, which it isn't. I mean, I don't know where people think that they have the authority to question and ask people what are they doing in their neighborhoods, as if it belongs to them. But at any rate, he questioned the young man. The young man answered him exactly how he should, that it was really none of his concern and business, and that, you know, you do know, or if you're not aware, that there have been a lot of racial tension everywhere, that you might want to be mindful. And he proceeded to say, well, I am a racist, and blah, 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 and that this is an in-free zone. Now, what the hell does that mean? And the fact that you yourself would be a minority and say that, and really,
I don't give a fuck.
Is crazy to me.
Oh, hell no.
Not surprising, but crazy. Because the reality is, if we were to just go away and say go, quote unquote, hypothetically speaking, back to Africa, as they like to say, or even to find a place of land and just go there and thrive, you'd be next. So it's funny how a lot of them think that they are better than. It's just that you haven't been picked on yet, or they haven't got back around to you. But if you think for 1 second that you may not be the next target if there was no other target, you're sadly mistaken by far. And I think that that is the most dumbest mistake that they make by thinking that they have made it, that, oh, they wouldn't come after us because we're on their side. Honey, if they don't have anybody else to go after, you would be next. And the fact that you don't see that is crazy. But, you know, to each his own. And I'd rather just let these people see it for themselves. Because it's funny how, we can be very honest and say, I'm sure that a lot of people in Puerto Rico definitely didn't see it that way. They thought, Puerto Rico, tourists come here, we can go to the States and kind of be freely and be treated a little different because a lot of us are of lighter skin. We don't necessarily consider ourselves to be of darker hue, even African at all. So we're good. And when that hurricane hit and Donald Trump treated them like second-class citizens, I think they got a rude awakening of actually where they stood on the racial spectrum of things. At least two white men, and the white man that counted, which was the President of the United States. And then a whole different tune started to sound when he treated them as if they were brown people and not the very light, close to white people that they like to feel that they are.
Boy.
So, all I can say is, I know I don't feel bad that you lost your job or any other kind of accolades or thing that was supposed to come your way because of your actions.
I don't give a fuck.
It's sad though that even if you do go somewhere, somebody will hire your
retard alert.
Because that's just what they do. People are just that messed up, and some people actually agree with you in your, whatever that was. But I'm glad you did get, as they say on these YouTube streets, popped.
Gotcha, bitch.
And you lost your job, and hopefully whatever other prospects or projects you had going, hopefully you lost them too.
Gotcha, bitch.
For your mouth. And I wish people would realize that don't sign a check that you're behind can't cash.
Gotcha, bitch.
And once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.